Arise, minions, and batten down the hatches as we leave behind the safety of the Humblewood to check in with the crew of Dark Fortunes.
Hello, I'm Rory, aka Final Gambit, and I am playing Silence Furuiken, Level 2 Mapok Warlock.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Mimir Elderbrand, the Level 2 Corvum Bard.
Hi, I'm V Muse, and I'm playing Sionnach MacTyre, Level 2 Vulpin Fighter.
Hi, I'm McLokin. I'm playing Auryn, the Level 2 Servant Barbarian.
Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm the Dungeon Master. Welcome to the Dark Fortunes podcast.
Hey there, listeners, it's Shane.
And Ishan, your hosts from the Total Party Thrill podcast, the newest addition to the Don't Split the Podcast network.
We talk topics that help you, dear listener, create and play better RPG games.
We have a back catalog of more than 150 weekly episodes.
And we got nominated for an Emmy for episode 11, Social Contracts.
In episode 154, we talked about crossing the moral event horizon. How evil is too evil?
We also recap our home games, like the 40k Rogue Trader campaign, Dynasty Unwarranted.
But that's mainly just you trying to kill us all. In your defense, our characters are greedy idiots.
Don't forget the 3 years we spent in Eberron playing Morning Glory, your 5th edition D&D campaign.
We also review new RPGs and books, and every episode we build a 5th edition D&D character in the Character Creation Forge.
You might check out the Pint-Sized Punisher from episode 119, a halfling with a bad attitude, and 14 levels of Barbarian.
So to recap, Total Party Thrill, RPG advice, campaign recaps, and D&D characters built by your dashing hosts every single week.
What more could you possibly want?
To get back to the actual show?
Oh yeah, let me just hit this button, and here you go.
Previously on Dark Fortunes. Mysteries abound aboard the Fool's Errand. An ancient box tied to the stars that changes with every touch. A fragment of a map written in a hidden code. Visions that transcend time and space. And a malevolent voice that calls itself Din. The crew is surely out of their depths.
Mem, Silence just gave you an opening. He has underestimated the situation that is going on inside of him.
I don't know how to take that.
That's it. So I got to stop for a second, Rory. That was brilliant. If you stump a mic, that's impressive.
Yeah, like I don't know how Mimir would respond to this, right? Like he looks at you. I think his like expression is very masked, right? Like you could, it's masked in a way that you can tell he's holding back, expressing what he's actually feeling. And he looks to you, Silence, and says, "Is this something beyond your control?"
Mayhaps. Can Silence make a check in order to suppress Din's awareness more? That way he can have kind of like a conversation without Din really being aware of what's happening.
Well, so let's talk about this. Like, we just had you in the last episode in a situation where you're on the sparring ground. Din was bound and in a submissive position to you at that particular point. You know that that's temporary. And as Din was engaging with you, you unbound them, but then put a barrier, for them to sort of be blocked from the situation. Towards the end, we had this situation where Din was starting to slip past. What is this metaphorically, what analogy, what sort of representation of this experience do you see as having that sort of effect? Like, what is the physical action that you would imagine happening to be able to do that?
If we are in the sparring grounds, then I would like to be in the farming fields as far away from the sparring grounds as possible. If not, then that's essentially knocking Din out, putting him in a sleeper hold. Just like, go to sleep. You don't want to hear this.
Well, so let's talk about, let's expand on this for just a second then, because what you're talking about is the sparring grounds is one place in the landscape of your mind in your interactions with Den. Does that mean that this is the village This is sort of the is this a like a mythological village? Is this the village of your childhood? Is this some other place you've been to? And if that's the case, then expand on it for us to understand how that fits into the relationship with Den.
Well, it is Silence's hometown. That's how he imagines it. The different areas are the different positive and negative aspects of his psyche. So one place like a farmland or riverside by a brook or something might be a more positive side, but somewhere like home or the sparring grounds might be, have connotations towards the negative. So mentally, in this metaphor, Silence would want to walk to a place that often has a lot more positive aspects to it, somewhere where Din has little to no influence.
Set the scene for us then and tell us how you do this.
Silence, with this shield still erected in front of Din, planted in the grounds. Silence imagines himself walking outside the bounds of this sparring ground, hard-packed dirt, and makes his way into the thickets of grass of lush farmlands, following the sound of a gentle brook or small river outwards towards the outskirts of the town, a place where few go, a place that is a safe, reconciled area for him.
They come wandering up to you.
This is not normal. The sparring grounds, that is where we have our fun. Why are we here?
I want to be alone, Din. If you give me this reprieve, then later, I will give you something you want.
Really?
Yes.
How long do you want? Mm-hmm.
A few hours. A small request.
And what do I get in return? You say it's something I want, but you know what I want. You know what I need.
I'll give you attention.
Will you let me talk to your friend?
Yes.
Unfiltered?
Yes.
Then I think we have an accord.
Silence will mentally just turn his back.
No.
Yeah.
You get 3 hours. I don't need to speak to him right away, but when he asks again, you will not deny him, because it's more fun that way.
So it shall be.
So let me ask you this question. I don't think we've covered this yet. How does Din refer to Silence? Like when he actually refers to him formally, how does Din refer to him?
Din likes Silence's name because it is his opposite, and so he finds power in that, I imagine. So he would refer to Silence as anyone else would by his namesake.
In a formal sort of situation, there's no other title or label of note that makes a difference.
No. Titles hold no sway with him. Names have power.
Silence.
It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Thank you.
The pleasure is all yours.
And we fade away.
How does it feel, like, for Silence in that moment as Din kind of walks away from the situation?
I think that's really up to you, because this is something that you are dealing with your entire life. This is something that has attached itself to you as a constant companion. If it's something that's familiar to you, this is new and alien and different. So I think it's really up to you how you want to describe that. And we'll use that as the language for, should this ever happen again, this is what we'll feel like. We'll be able to describe your feelings better.
It's the same landscape, the same mental scape as before. It is his town, and this is a safe space inside that town. However, it has grown stale, like within the confines of a stuffy house. And once Din removes themselves, just a little bit, it's like someone has opened a window, and olfactory is the quickest way to recollection. So, sweet, musty smells of pollen and plant life kind of like come back in, where Silence almost forgot what it was like to have that there inside his own mind. And so that will be the immediate sense of having a little bit of freedom and alone time, essentially.
Is there anything that you hear?
Other than the gentle atmosphere of nature, not really. An absence, because when you hear something for so long, like Din, and then it's no longer there, you get to hear the things that you couldn't pay attention to at the time.
Do you see anything different? I mean, I'm imagining that with sort of the senses sort of coming alive again because of all of the sort of the staleness being blown away, as if like a wind just sort of comes in from the east and just kind of sweeps across the land, in this landscape of your mind. It just kind of blows across, and all of a sudden the flowers look a little brighter. They smell a little bit stronger. The sound of the brook sounds a little bit more sort of inviting, and sounds like a well-loved memory just sort of reawakening, right? You're getting the senses of the animals and the insects and all of that. Is there anything else that shows up or appears or becomes alive again? Do you see visions of your family, the villagers, people passing through? Is there something different now that Den has stepped back, has left the village?
It's a feeling, the touch, the closeness and sheltering of my mother's arms, just like slightly behind me, almost cradling from behind, arms wrapped around the chest. Nothing is there, but it's just a sweet, gentle hold, cradling.
As we begin to fade from this landscape of your mind, it's almost as if you can smell her. You can smell your mom wrapping her arms around you. You can smell the familiar smells of comfort.
Lilies on the wind and honey on bread.
And as we fade back in, you are facing Mim, who is still has a questioning, sort of confused look on his beaked face.
Mimir?
Yes?
I feel like I've brokered a deal with the demon, but I have given us, all of us, time to weigh options. But later, you will have your due diligence and full audience for Din. But for right now, I have a few hours to speak my mind without that entity knowing.
Oh.
I believe that Din is, or I always used to believe that Din was a new god. The way that they always spoke like a child, curious about the world around us. Like they too were young and ready to explore this world. That is not the case, I don't think. I think they are new to this world. They are old in others, but to this one, the Humblewood and everything beyond, it is indeed new to. An old god in the guise of a child's curiosity.
I must ask, now that you're alone, where did you encounter this Din? What is your first memory of it?
I am not a large member of my species. I'm a runt. And with that said, it was more difficult for me to take to sparring, hand-to-hand combat, and the usage of kendo, wooden swords. Frustration. I just wasn't strong enough to keep up. I wanted for something more. I wanted to prove myself. And then there was Din. And he gave me power. And I accepted it.
What was the deal you struck? There's always a deal in those kinds of situations, from what I understand.
The deal was hidden. What was I to know? I was a child. He offered power, and I took it. Fully ignorant.
And since then?
No terms have been discussed. I've merely harbored my mistake.
Who's around this conversation right now?
I think Auryn's still like trying to look in his eye and see if he can find Din. He's just kind of listening, but focused on that and not really paying attention at the same time. Because you're talking about different worlds and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, blah, 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 science stuff, which he does not understand at all.
It just makes you look like a really good listener. Be like, wow, he always maintains eye contact. And
he's so direct.
Such a nice guy. He's really good.
Mac, are you also nearby for this?
Not like standing right there. It's more like leaning against the side of one of the rail deals and just sort of keeping an ear open and watching it. And her eyes are actually sort of narrowed and not skeptical, but sort of ascertaining everything that's being shared.
Interesting. Mim kind of looks back to silence again after like glancing around to see where everyone is and says, these kinds of deals, the open-ended ones that you have, as you stated, ignorantly walked your way into, are often the most dangerous of them. I believe you are right to be as cautious as you currently are of your passenger, because at any point in time, he could use the power that he's given you, the strength, the magics that I've seen, as a bargaining tool and threat of revocation for you to commit whatever he wants you to commit. You seem sturdy, but it is a threat that only he holds over you. I think there will be a time when he will say that he wants something done that you do not want to do. And when you refuse, he will say that he could easily remove their powers from you, leaving you, as you had said, below deck, the runt of a litter, one not strong enough to stand on his own. I don't know when that day will come, but I feel like our path puts you in direct confrontation with that moment.
That is fair, Mimir. I appreciate your wise words.
In the meantime, it may be useful to find any information about this Din that we can, to see where he comes from, which of these worlds you speak of, where he is an old god there but a new god here. I don't know of any creature or entity, god or otherwise, that behaves in the way that you speak. This magical arrangement I have heard of before. It's not unknown to me. It's not rare. It's just not often spoken of. It's not a learned mage. It's not a charismatic sorcerer who bends nature to their will. It is, much like you said, a bargain. Usually terms are up front, but there are some that are not. Those usually go the worst. But they all stem from someone or something. And knowing about them can assist you in bargaining. So finding where Din comes from could be useful to keeping you in control.
Okay. I will warn you. When it is Din's time to talk, I will be relinquishing a lot of who I am to him, to them. I do not know what will happen.
Silence, dear, when you let him, her, them take over. How do you feel afterwards?
I've not let that happen before. I do not know.
Oh, Sionnach is looking right at Mimir, hearing that one, and just sort of quirks a brow.
I imagine I will show you a few binding techniques for prisoners. Tie me to the mast or wherever we are at the time. That way I cannot harm you. At least not physically.
Darling, I grew up with ropes in hands. I'm not too worried about tying you up. It's more the mental issues afterwards.
If you try to kill us, I will strike you down quickly.
And I appreciate it, Senpai.
She's just like, she like puts a hand on her forehead, just like, oh. Once again, let's not kill each other unless it's necessary.
I am on a pilgrimage. It is not just a physical one. It is spiritual. It is emotional. It is mental. I physically moved a lot.
And it's your spiritual and mental health that I'm most concerned with at this point.
I take the steps. We will figure out where the path goes.
Well, Mimir.
Silence. When
Yes.
you summon these chaotic energies, where does it come from? It must... I understand that you don't know much about it, but when you use the magic granted to you, to bring it to physical form, you must focus through something. What is your focal point?
I believe Din likes to translate it in a way that are appropriate for the teachings of my people. Deep within the navel is the lowest of our chakras, a place where the chi is stored. I feel it there. I draw my energy from there and unleash it.
No physical token? Not something you channel it through?
My sword now. It is his to command.
Interesting.
And I'll take out, Silence will take out the wakizashi, which is the small, short sword at his hip. Sometimes this one, but mostly the Masamune. And I'll kind of like gesture to the one on his back.
I would ask two things of you. One, before you are tied to the mast, that you willingly disarm yourself. No one will touch your weapons. You can put them beside you, just not in contact with your person. And two, and you see him like pause for a second in like a I don't want to be in this position kind of conversation. Is there anything you would like me to not discuss with Din?
There are too many unknowns. Do as you will, Mimir. Against my better judgment, I feel like I can trust your decision-making.
He, cocks a head and, side-eyes Sionnach. Well, you learn to get over that. How long do you have before he takes over?
A few hours. 2 to 3.
Is there anything you'd like to accomplish in that time?
I would like to enjoy the scenery. And he'll Silence will walk away a little bit towards the aft end of the ship, away from the port, looking back out towards the sea.
As Silence walks away, Mim turns to Sionnach and Auryn and says, I believe if Silence is in complete control of this moment, now might be the best time to get the crew together.
Right.
I'll have the conversation when he's tied to the mast.
We're getting a crew together and they're going to see us tie someone to the mast. Oh, this is going to be fantastic.
Oh, I assumed they would just meet us in the morning or something like that. We are in a port town. I assume they're all tying one off.
All right, so give them a departure time. They be on the boat, or else they're not part of the crew.
That's what I don't know how ships work, but that's how it's always worked for me as a passenger.
All right, we'll do it that way then. Be careful with him, Mimsy.
I'll be gentle.
Be careful for yourself, too.
I will do just that.
I think he can kill you very quickly.
She just points.
He looks to Auryn and he goes, I do die very easily.
You aren't exactly durable, dear.
I know. Did you see the size of that servant who chopped me down with one strike? I still have. And he shows blood-clotted feathers. This is a mess.
We all know that the worst part about playing a spellcaster in your favorite 5th edition fantasy RPG is having to write down all of the intricate details of every spell in your notebook, or flipping to the back of the book every time you forget what a spell does. But what if I told you there was a better way? Lucky for you, there is. Our friends over at Hit Point Press are launching their new Kickstarter for the Deck of Many animated spells. This new Kickstarter will include waterproof, artistic renderings of spells levels 6 through 9, as well as a fully animated tarot deck for all your soothsaying needs. Not to mention, animated condition cards if we hit our stretch goals. So if you want to enhance your level of play at the table, head on over to rebrand.ly/DFP spells and pledge for your very own deck of animated spells. That's rebrand.ly/DFP spells, and be sure to tell them Dark Fortunes Podcast sent you. And as always, happy gaming.
He can strike at a distance. That's something I've seen.
I saw that as well. I'm hoping that disarming himself will assist in that. Most magic that I'm aware of needs to be focused through an object. So I'm hoping that the distance from him to those objects dampens his abilities.
Magic talk I don't understand, but okay.
Imagine if you had a bow and arrow, and the arrow was magic, and I took away your bow. It's very hard to shoot me at a distance with that arrow without the bow.
That makes sense.
That's it. That's all I have. Mac, I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, in terms of finding a crew?
Yes.
Well, guess what? You're coming along for that one too, because it seems that the person we're going to need to interact with, your ilk, might be quite helpful.
Oh, fine.
Little fun field trip. I heard there's very good wine.
Okay, you sold me at the wine.
I know I would. That's why I started with it.
Let's go.
Do we have... Oh, we're getting food, correct?
But food was purchased, so
I
it
think we
could
got
easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will stay here and keep guard.
You sure you don't want? You can leave the ship. This isn't the fighting ring.
Senpai, don't worry. I'll watch the ship. I want to be alone.
Okay. Be wary, Milo's reading downstairs. As soon as he's done, he will want to talk.
I will do what I can to entertain him.
Sionnach will just sort of like pat Silence's shoulder, like, good man.
As you do, like, Silence will begin doffing his armor. The black scale mail, samurai scale mail with the purple threading tying it all together. And he'll doff that and like doff the pants as well. And like set them down on the ground. And what you can imagine as like meager samurai undergarment wrapping around his middle. It's purple, just like the lining. He's got black and purple as his motif. And he'll like, as the armor is doffed, you see just how naturally poofy he is. Like, looks very small and scrawny with the armor in a way. As soon as it's off, it's just like poof. Like the fur belies
There you go.
his size.
Wow.
I've not been without armor for a long time.
Then enjoy the wind and the fur.
I shall.
Excellent.
Be safe, Captain.
Thank you. You too, Silence.
I don't know if I did this already, but Auryn would take off his gladiator armor, or has taken it off.
Wait. Gladiator armor, there's not much there, so please tell me you have at least like a loincloth or something going, right?
He has brown shorts on that have suspenders all the way.
Okay.
That's all he's wearing. And he has his great axe. And he has a flask
It's
of
not
water.
clothing!
No, it is. They're shorts, and they have suspenders.
I thought you said he has his great axe.
Yeah, he's carrying his great axe.
Okay. We were talking about clothes and you bring up the great axe. That's all.
He just has a great axe. And his weapon.
It's great axe body spray.
Right?
That's what he's covered in.
Boo.
Hey, you never know.
Well, Mac, by your leave, to find a crew, I guess.
Yes, and with this particular gentleman who seems to have taken over Meridian, then perhaps you could charm a little bit, work your magic with chatting and getting to know him and making him feel like he's a grand old so-and-so.
No, I can do that. That's
That's
easy
why
enough.
I'm bringing you. That's exactly why I'm bringing you, love.
What is the end goal? Why am I charming this man? What is he giving us?
It's not so much what he's giving us, it's that he has this control over the town.
And we need it because...
I want to find out more about him, and I want to get a crew.
Oh. Is
But it
this
seems...
one of
Huh?
your ilk?
What, pirate? I'm
Yes.
wondering. Sometimes you have the pirates who like to guise themselves as other things.
Interesting. Okay.
Wonderful. So, we can go to this boat of ill repute and see if we can gather ourselves a crew and find out what the hell's going on here.
Deal.
What do you think, Auryn? Ready?
Just tell me what to do.
Let's just say if someone steps in the way to try and hurt us, kill them.
Okay.
Lovely.
Oh, 1 second. And Mim walks to the stairway and pokes his head inside and says, Milo, if you touch that box while I'm gone, I will never answer a single question of yours ever again.
Complete silence.
Well, one of two things has happened. Either way, I don't care right now. And he pops his head back out and moves towards Mac.
No, you misunderstood complete silence. As soon as you got your head down there, I was just like right there. Silence was right there.
In his face.
Like, hello.
How do you do
It
this?
is complete silence.
Every time, everywhere I am, you just pop up out of nowhere.
It's a feat.
Yeah, it's just called Mimir's shadow. Like everyone, shit.
All right. So I take it you're making your way to find this particular barkeep / man about town, Barton.
I mean, I figure that's sort of the direction we should be going.
Sure. So as the three of you begin to exit, what are we calling the ship again? The Folly?
The Fool's Errand.
The Fool's Errand. All right. So so are we calling it the Fool or are we calling it the Errand?
The Fool's Errand.
For sure.
I guess I get the whole thing. The whole Fool's Errand.
Okay. As the three of you are exiting the Fool's Errand, we find Silence on the back of the boat, sort of looking out at the ocean. His gaze is just sort of taking in the night sky, the constellations. The breeze is sort of dancing through his fur and kind of causing it to sort of, move and sort of shift in ways that he's not experienced in a long time. And he's just sort of allowing himself to sort of get carried away with the smells and the scents and the sort of the sounds of the ocean. A little bit of laughter begins to sort of break that silence, that sort of natural set of sounds, and it draws your attention, and you turn looking to the right. The ship, the Fool's Errand, is moored to what essentially is one of the couple of docks that there are at Meridian. It's a small, sort of like port, very much a fishing village, and more to this one sort of dock. It's, on the farthest side from where the noise is coming from. So you look over and you look out to the ocean where the noise is coming from, and just offshore, maybe 1,000 feet offshore, is a ship that looks that looks like its anchor has been thrown, and it's just sort of sitting there, sort of gently sort of rocking in the breeze. And you hear another, sort of rancorous sort of like roar of laughter. And, you begin to hear the slight melody coming from a squeeze box, just sort of, playing across the water. And you see it, and it's this 3-mast ship. It's a galleon. Its sails don't look like they've been used in a really long time. The rigging is really beginning to kind of fall apart a little bit. And as you're sort of taking this in, you see Mac and Auryn and Mim walking to the end of another sort of wharf or dock to a place where they have an exchange and begin to find themselves being rowed out to this ship. And so we're going to cut the camera to the small rowboat where you've got what looks to be a servant, older, just tired, and just beginning to row. And the servant says, "So, is this your first time on the Sea Hag?"
Yes. Anything you'd like to give us a heads up about?
I don't understand what you mean, ma'am. I just row the boat here to pay my debt.
What debt?
Oh, I owe a debt to Captain Barton.
From what?
Oh, well, he saved my life a time or two back when I was a sailor. It was a bad choice for me to be a sailor. The sea was not my friend. And as you sort of take him in, you can see as he's rowing that there are cuts on his forearms, and you can see a little bit, like the jerkin is sort of open a little bit, and you can see that there are slashes. And you can see he winces in pain every time he rows. But at least I'm alive, and he just continues to kind of row and says, at least one day I'll work to my freedom and see my grandchildren. And he just goes silent.
In servant, I look at him and I go, "Is he fair?"
Give me a charisma check. This is a relatively simple one. I just want to see if you're actually going to say.
Straight up 15. I rolled a 15. Yeah.
All right. when he looks to you, it's like he's seeing you for the first time. And he sort of takes in your face, and then he looks and he counts the points, and he just gets lost in your antlers for just a second. And then he looks at you, and for Mac, who's been like having this conversation with him and sort of observing, he looked tired before, he looked exhausted. But when you hear Servant come out of Auryn's mouth, it's like all of a sudden sort of the cloudiness and tiredness just disappears. And when he answers, he's got this more serious tone. And Auryn, what you hear in Servant is, "Oh, he's fair. He'll just hold you to the letter of your deal. So choose your terms wisely."
Well noted. And may Kareth bring you vigor.
And at that, both of you notice, and Mim, I'm sure that you're either observing or just, kind of, even you take note of a difference in the servant's sort of change in attitude for just a second. As you can hear his voice soften, and for Auryn and Mac, who are looking at him, you can see that his eyes are welling up with tears just a bit. So as the both of you look towards the servant, you can see that his mood has changed, his attitude has changed. He's softened a bit, and just for a second, you can see that his eyes get a little bit more wet and he gets a little teary. And he closes them, and you can see a slight sort of shift in moisture on his face, over his snout. And he kind of looks. He says, "Right, you need to get there. Let me get you there." And he begins to row much faster, with more vigor.
And I look at Mac, and I go, "We need to choose our words wisely with this man."
Yes, it sounds like he's the forked tongue type.
He is fair, but is very...
He's calculating. He's not fair.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Okay. I'll take your word on that, but I think however we phrase things to him, we need to be very
clear.
Participate, or yes.
Particular.
Yes, that one. He's like nodding. He's like,
I follow, Auryn.
And she'll look over to the Roman.
How much longer are you with this fair gentleman?
Let me see. What year is it?
You don't even know the year.
I don't know the year either. I've been alive for 15 springs.
The year, so Mac, you would know that the year is 543. In the counting of the calendar of the Kingdom of Den.
543 according to the Kingdom of Den.
He cocks his head, moves his lips as if he's counting. It's been 10 years now. And I have another 5.
And how many
springs? I don't know if I can...
For you?
Oh. It's been 50, 55, I think.
You'll see.
My time is soon done.
You'll see her jaw like clench and tighten at hearing that, and her fists clench a little bit.
So you're telling me, in your golden years, you have 5 more years to serve this man, this fair man, in servitude.
He gave me my life. I owe him a debt. Because of my life and the way that I lived and survived, my grandchildren can thrive. That is a price I am willing to pay. And at this conversation, you can see that the vigor is beginning to diminish a little bit. He's just becoming back to that rhythm that you found him initially. But the boat is also almost to the galleon. But you can see that this conversation has really brought back sort of the reality of his situation. And he says, I can only hope that I can last. I do miss them.
Pray to Kareth and give him offerings every day, and he will give you the life that you need.
He gave me this life. He gave me what time I have left. I pray for my grandchildren. And at that, the boat, he pulls up the oars to sort of slow the momentum and begins to turn and reaches for a rope that's being thrown down to him. And he just kind of pulls the rowboat in and just kind of slides it up to the side and then ties it off on what looks to be like a rope, a rope ladder. And as the three of you begin to exit, he looks back at Auryn and he says, in Servan, he is smart. He will try to manipulate to gain the best deal for him. Be careful.
Thank you.
Be careful, brother.
Thank you, brother. And then I give him my water skin and then make my way up.
Okay. So you pass it to him, and as you're looking back down, you see he takes an incredibly large gulp from the water skin, and you look up to hear momentous laughter as the three of you find your way on deck of the Sea Hag's song. Now, this is a galleon. It is quite a large ship, much larger, 3 masts than the Fool's Errand. But it is laid out in a way that you, Mac, have no idea how this was ever really a normal ship, and operated at sea, because it looks completely transformed into the setting of a tavern, except under the night sky. And you can see that where there would be towards the back where there is the navigation deck, the place where the rudders is. I need to get my ship terms better. You can see that has been transformed into sort of like a performing platform, and there right now there's a Gerbine playing a squeeze box, and silently just sort of singing along with something, but just kind of just kind of doing the thing, and it's just beautiful sort of like light music in the breeze, a nice little rhythm. And a couple of patrons are sort of drinking and just sort of kind of swaying along and just sort of singing, a jaunty tune that you can't quite hear because they're sort of mumbling under their breath with this. But they, all of them hold tankards.
What does the Gerbine look like?
The Gerbine is sort of a brownish red, with white spots all over, but there's not a single strip of white or anything else. It's an unusual sort of pattern for the fur of the Gerbine, but you can see that the Gerbine is actually a little older, and as you're paying attention, you can actually see that it looks like a woman who has just sort of wrapped herself in garbs to kind of hide the appearance that she is female, and just kind of fit into the setting. And so she's just sort of playing this and sort of singing along, or mouthing along, but not singing.
Is she mouse-like or hamster-like, or something along, what kind of species of?
She would be more mouse-like. Right. And so just sort of as she's just playing and the others are, up on that deck, the main deck is littered. Well, not littered, is crowded with tables. Only half of them are full. But there are patrons who are doing different types of, playing different types of games or having, rancorous conversation and trading tall tales about adventures on the sea. Some are playing liar's dice. Some are playing a game that looks akin to checkers. One table appears to have a deck of cards and they're playing, a card game of some kind, but it's not like anything that we recognize. And so all the tables have a smattering of different of the humble folk and of the bird folk. There's no one dominant sort of species, race sort of hanging out there. Towards the front of the ship, the bow, there is what looks to be a well-crafted around the mast towards the front, a well-crafted sort of beautifully built bar that sort of swings out and around, and it kind of rings this first mast, and behind it is a mawpock, feathery sort of like brilliant hat, weathered with time, a faded sort of a blue with hints of brown sort of in the bindings of the hat, and the feather is this like brilliant sort of green and looks relatively new and does not match like the sort of the lack of brilliance of the rest of the hat. But the rest of the gear that this particular person is wearing is all sort of like tattered and just sort of falling, just really in disrepair, not very well kept. And there's a couple of patrons that are just sort of like around this sort of front bar, this front, sort of countertop. And there appears to be a heated conversation going on there as well. You can also see that there is a way down below deck, and you can hear the sounds of laughter down there as well. How do you want to proceed into this situation?
Johnny, I have a question for you.
I don't have an answer for you. Please stop.
I would like to make an investigation check. I don't normally ask for rolls like that, but I want investigation specifically because Mimir wants to look around the room, but not in a way that he's like searching for something. He's looking at the people and he's trying to like use what they're wearing, what they're doing to place them at like locations. Like that hat, where is it from? That sword, where is this from? Where, you're playing, liar's dice. Is it a variant that from this region? Have I heard of the style of song, right? Like that kind of thing. To place these people. He's walking in knowing why Mac brought him here, and he's trying to find people's tells and weak points. So it's a mental based, it's an intelligence based thing, I think.
So you're basically doing what a profiler would do, or say Sherlock walking into a room and basically just sort of, analyzing the entire scene and situation.
Yes. So Mimir is a salesman, and he tries to put himself in the best position to properly sell you whatever piece of trash you need for the highest value for him. And to do that, he needs to know what you look like you need, where you're from, and so that he can kind of play on your insecurities, your familiarities, that kind of thing.
Is Mimir a merchant, or is he more a swindler?
Is there a difference is my question.
It's a little bit of both.
Because you're... I don't know what you're talking
about.
What
are you saying right now?
How dare?
Oh, rude.
Dare.
He's a con man, and a respectable one at that. Okay.
Because that's not an oxymoron.
You can be a gentleman thief.
Sionnach would see if there's sort of like an open space at the bar situation. That's always her default. Like go and sit and get a drink and sort of absorb and listen for those first 20 minutes, get the lay of everything, take in who's around, what they're doing. who looks to be more in charge than others.
Okay. Let me get a sense of what Auryn is going to do here, and then we will navigate each of these separately.
I am just kind of taking it all in and kind of seeing how people are armed and who would be kind of the fighters, I guess, and following Mac and just kind of keeping guard on her.
All right, so you're doing a threat assessment for violence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with Orange because he's going to be probably the easiest here to do that. Is this sort of an instinctual kind of a thing, or is this more of like Orange training that's coming to play
It's
here?
both. It's instinctual because of like being in a new scenario and one that he's not too familiar with. So he's taking everything in, but also if things do get violent, who's he need to take out first, kind of thing. And who's like basically just knowing how quickly he can take out people, and what's the best way about doing that?
Give me a perception check.
Let's do it.
And do it at advantage because of your training, specifically related to fighting.
All right, here we go. I rolled an 11. That would be a 14.
You see a smattering of people who are prepared for violence.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them look drunk, but at the what would be considered the sort of corners of the deck where the tables are, you see that there are at least one individual in those corners, and we'll call them three corners, that is really kind of paying attention and watching the situation, playing like they're laughing and being, sort of rancorous, but are still sort of like doing the exact same thing that you are. And you make eye contact with the one in the farthest corner, just kind of assessing the three of you and sizing you up as you are sizing them up.
Okay. I kind of like am looking around and I don't look at Mac, but I just start talking and I keep your eyes to the corners. They are watching us and assessing.
That's what they normally do.
The others are drunk. Maybe easy to get through, but those might be the most problematic ones in those three areas.
All right. Keep your eye on them more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me they'll be the ones to move in a little bit faster. Well, that's figured out.
Would I be able to suss out where the good captain of this ship is?
It'll be obvious for you. It's the bartender / barkeep / person behind.
Oh, it is.
It's the Mopok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see that once Auryn points that out to you, you can see that there are glances back towards like check-ins going on between these individuals in the corners and the Mopok behind the bar.
Right.
Okay. Question: any of those three in the corners, are they serving?
No.
Okay.
All right. So then, well, obviously going to get a drink because it'd be weird to be at the bar and not get a drink. So, barkeep.
Okay. So as you make your way towards, I'm gonna deal with Mim's roll real quick, and then we'll bring it back to that part of the scene. Mim, were you paying attention to anything that Auryn said as you're doing this assessment?
Insofar as that he said, keep your eye out for the people in the corners. They're violent or they might be aggressive. That's probably all he really heard.
Okay. So you wanted to do an investigation roll at this particular point with what you're doing.
Yes.
All right. Also take that at advantage.
Oh, okay. So it was a 15 plus 4, and now it's a 20 plus 4. So, nat 20.
This feels like you're walking into a familiar setting.
Ooh.
So familiar that you can recognize each of the players in the room. Taking in the entire thing, for each person that each of the folk that you see, you take in, you get details. So whenever you interact with them at all, you can ask me one of two questions to help you in that interaction. What's their tell? And what is their body language betraying them?
Okay.
All right. So you get like and the difference being that the tell is, when they think that they've got their hand, they're one up on you. Like they think that they've got you in a position where they've got the upper hand. Their body language will convey what their real sort of emotional state or disposition is at this point. So you can ask me one of those two questions anytime you interact with somebody new, and you'll get that information automatically. That's what the crit gets you.
Okay.
Here's what the rest of it gets you that you don't actually. It's like it's built off of what Auryn says.
Yeah.
Those are only the enforcers in the corners. You see them checking in with the Mopok. What you also see is also at that table, each of those tables, are people who are much better at acting drunk and much better at managing the situation. And they're the ones that sort of appear to be controlling the mood and the situation and how things are going. These are the manipulators. These are the troublemakers. These are the people who can start a bar fight on a moment's notice. And the way that you notice that is not in the way that they're acting, but in the way that they're not acting. They are not always drinking their drink. You can see that they're picking up their cup and just kind of like pretending to take a sip, but it never actually hits their lips.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or if it does, it's a sip and not a gulp, right? You can see that the way that they are paying attention to the rest of the room and are not worried about you at this point.
Interesting. Mim leans over to Sionnach and says, "My dear, how much noise did you make on your first foray into town?"
I didn't exactly go in rattling pots and pans. Why?
About a third of the bar is an act.
So it's like that, is it?
It appears so. And since you're the only new game in town, I believe it's a performance for you.
Oh, lovely.
Since
I do love a good performance.
This is just a fishing stopover, right?
It should be.
Well, perhaps rumors of Mac the Tearbringer have gotten further than we expected, or bright eyes are more recognizable as to who you might work for.
Perhaps. Well, this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
So, how do you want to play this?
We could play the ingenue. So new to all of this. Whatever should I do to get a crew? Your guidance and suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
That'll only work if they don't know your previous employer.
That's true. You could do it.
I'm sorry. I could.
You're the new one to the ship, recruiting the crew.
And I just happen to have no idea who you are.
Exactly.
All right. I can play someone who knows nothing about the ocean.
Of course you can. Absolutely.
How much coin do we have?
That's a good question. Do we ever establish that?
I think
we did
I
not.
think we just have what we have on us.
I established mine when I made my character to Johnny. I have no coin.
No, well, obviously. That's easy enough. I mean, I would think that...
So I'm going to say that you find a stash of coins on the ship as well. We're gonna like sort of retroactively make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's say you found a stash of 100 gold.
Okay.
So you did do okay.
Okay. We have a nice little chunk, about 100 or so.
Barkeep, could I have your finest bottle of whatever it is? Whatever your finest bottle is?
And that's where we're going to end it.
Dark Fortunes is an unmade gaming production and a proud member of the Don't Split the Podcast network. If you would like to learn more about the world of Dark Fortunes and get some behind-the-scenes looks, please join us on Patreon at patreon.com/unmadegaming. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Thank you for joining us on this high seas adventure, and we'll see you next time on Dark Fortunes. So you've gathered up all of your books, your dice, and your friends, and you've sat down at the table to play your favorite fantasy role-playing game. And as you look around at the smiling faces and the array of snacks scattered across your table, you sit and think, man, what could be missing from this wondrous day? Well, friend, I'm here to tell you what's missing. And that's any of the amazing products made by our friends over at Elderwood Academy. If you think you're a fan of the sound of your shiny math rocks click-clacking around in your hand before you roll them, just imagine how good they'd sound rolling around in your very own custom Codex dice tower and landing in a matching dice tray. And at the end of the day, these dice trays are made to snap apart, roll up, and fit right inside the Codex dice tower, along with your dice, for easy cleanup. Our friends over at Elderwood Academy are artisans who craft amazing gaming products, including dice towers, dice trays, dice boxes, deck boxes, dice, and more. All of their products are crafted to look like spellbooks, scroll cases, codexes, and other awesome fantasy gear that we love. So do yourself a favor and head on over to elderwoodacademy.com/don'tsplit and get your hands on one of these amazing products. And while you're at it, be sure to snap a few pictures and tag us on Instagram at DarkFortunesPod because we love dice and dice accessories just as much as you do. Happy gaming!